So we have workshop for 4:30, so we've done our prayer and pledge, just make sure, secretary want to make sure y'all know we've done that. We didn't neglect that. It's always good to recognize our students for things that they do on and off the field, on and off the court. And our Toller volleyball team has done an incredible feat, and it ain't just a feat, it's a feat. It's a three-feet. I don't know. They are really good, and they continue to dominate. It's the Big River Conference. It just started. It was our Panhandle Conference, and they have graduated right into this. They just had another dominating season. We're very proud and glad to have that little conference, of schools that still participate in that. And so we wanted to recognize y'all as a team, and we get to see y'all's grades too. We're not going to talk about your grades. Y'all great student athletes, and I've always said what gives you the ability to be on the court, on the diamond, and on the field is starting in the class. Y'all are not only great athletes, y'all are great students too, and that makes us especially proud. Y'all check both of those boxes as well. Parents, I know y'all are proud of them and the time and the effort. Thank you for investing in our coaches and believing in them. That's always can sometimes be a thankless job. It is a tough job, and Coach Julie just gets it done year after year. So I'm gonna ask her if she would just come and I'm gonna embarrass her a little bit. She knows nothing. And just talk about, it was a quick 1-2 minute talk about the season, how it went, and then we want to get a picture with y'all. Okay. All right. Thank you.
It always starts off a little shaky, but it always works out for us. And good job.
All right. Let's give them my hand. What we got final record?
I really don't. I did lost two. Lost two. Maybe about somewhere in here. 15
and 2.
15 and 2.
Yeah.
That sound right? Let's go 15 and 2. That's a great record. Great.
I will say in the last 3 years, we've only been 5 lost.
Oh, wow. That's right. Just move on over that about a hill. 8 graders and 1 to do it. Yeah. How many 8 graders? Every year. Oh, wow. Oh. All right. So anything y'all want to say? I think Veda said 8 graders needed to speak. Oh, no.
And I think that's a great season. It was fun. I had fun.
Parents, or anything you want to add to that?
I want to say thank you, Julie.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right, anything else? All right, would y'all stand in, y'all come in front of y'all? Let's get a picture.
Symbolize those for her. Okay. That works too. That's how old people sound.
Your mind, my business.
Talking about me at all?
That's how she called her. Hey, that's what she
There y'all.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, you take it out.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Y'all, I typed this before it was, I got good, intelligence that this thing is gonna pass today. Today is a monumental day for the school district and for school districts all around the country. We have a bill that had passed in the Senate back in, the spring. Y'all remember I went up there in May, with a force coalition with other school district superintendents, board members, county commissioners, and, just could not get it to the speakers. Get the speaker, put it on the agenda, and then we had it shut down. And then it was like pulling teeth to get it. They had to play catch up with everything else. So anyway, I watched it today. I sent y'all some text on that. It passed. Very, very proud. So what they're telling us now is once the president gets it, they said that they're gonna send it straight to him in 45 days. They cut checks. So, I want to thank Representative Dunn's office. Jimmy Patron helped push this across the finish line as well. So if y'all see Jimmy in the next, whenever, send him a note or something. Tell him thank you, but, it helped the whole country. We're not the only beneficiaries here. We're, it's monumental for us, but out west, you got forest counties that are 96% dependent upon, forest money, which means the school district is totally in the forest. And so they don't get state, they don't get state dollars because it's on federal one, or they get very little state dollars, but 96% of their funding comes from this legislation. So they're very, very happy. Obviously we have the largest acreage in Florida, being in Liberty County. We have the Ocala and Osceola as well. Of course, they'll be beneficiaries as well. The payment is in arrears for 24 and 25 because it stopped in 23. So we'll get a payment for 2 years worth, and then there's a scheduled payment 26. And then they're looking at a couple 1 year extensions to 28. Those have not been firmed up. 24, 25, 26 was part of this Senate bill. So very excited about that. That gives us breathing room and hopefully some makeup there. That's awesome. Ethics training, I know y'all were talking about that a little while ago, it must be completed December 31st. I sent y'all a follow-up email this morning. I sent y'all the link back in October. It is humorous and engaging if you watch it. I started mine yesterday. Brian Moore with Fads does it. He's pretty funny guy. So anyway, make sure you get that. There's a certificate at the end, and make sure you do that. You'll need to verify that on your ethics form that y'all do by July 1st next year. Rural Renaissance, some of y'all have been asking me about that. It is back on the table. It's been introduced by Corey Simon, but this is really, Senate President Ben Albrecht's, it's kind of his signature legislation. He really wants to see it go through. I've had some, extensive conversations with him. Me and Darrell Taylor talked to him one-on-one, 2-on-1 rather, and really, he's not gonna let it go. It's back in there. So, this is a huge benefit for PAC, but it's a huge push, financially for rural districts that are struggling. And I think right now with the ambiguity with how we're gonna do property tax reform, and are they gonna do away with property tax, valorem? It's just, we need some commitments from the legislature to make sure that we don't go backwards on Sunday dollar, since we're so heavily dependent. That affects sheriff's office, county commission, everybody in rural counties, all of our county government. Talked to Ted Roush this week, with Fleet. They are still in conversations with CHP, Katie and Jeff and, Mr. Keeper. We all met with him before. The latest he's come up with is that Florida Blue is not wanting to compete. Most of their fleet districts now are going with Florida Blue, and he said Florida Blue is, and I put on their groups like Florida Blue, but it's there. I don't want to call them out and say this is what they're doing or not doing, just for fear of backlash. But it doesn't appear that they want to compete with CHP. They're basically kind of territorial and saying, you know, CHP is right here in Tallahassee, they're going to leave Leon County alone. And possibly Wakulla and any other districts that CHP are with. They're not letting that go, but they're going to try to work around that. There are some other carriers. He mentioned a couple ones, United Healthcare, that is interested in maybe some of these CHP districts that, that were with CHP, that may want to look, at a different option. He's keeping us in the loop. He's got meetings with them even next week. And he said, we're still good on time. Y'all had asked me about, I think Jody asked me about, where we were with our contract with CHP. It was a 3-year contract, 2 1-year renewals. So we're in year 4. So we got another year. Yeah. Correct. I appreciate you.
They negotiated it renewal.
Correct. And we are negotiating rates. And they've been, compared to the other CHP school districts, we're one of the lowest, which has been good. And I think that's because we've had claims that have been lower than some of the neighboring districts. Wakulla, from what I understand, it's gone really high on their claim. While we're talking about this, and if you'll just kind of look at the other handout and stuff behind you, I wanted to give you the results of the survey since we're talking about insurance. This is the survey, very simple questions. Are you satisfied with capital health? Would you be interested in something else that were less expensive? Here, if as I walked through this and looked at the comments, everybody, I really probably 4-to-1, 5-to-1. They really like CHP, but obviously they know it's a very expensive endeavor. If they're open to other things, but if there's nothing, if it's not better, they'd rather stay with CHP. They're just looking for something less expensive, which is kind of what the whole purpose was of going. But CHP has a good reputation for the most part with our folks. I did put on there though, and just this is for you to look at your leisure. I really want y'all to look at it. Calhoun does do a self-insured thing, where they do it through PAC. I wanted to show you, so I've got this here is our plans. The board contributes $546 and some change a month. The one on the back is Calhoun County's. And what I think you'll find on page 2, they contribute a little less, and their rates are a tad less than ours, but not a whole lot less. For certain things, if you kind of look at their family plan, it's $1,929, and ours is $2,093. So I mean, it is lower, but not a dab lower. Where the benefit is for them is that they, if the claims are less than the premiums that are taken in, they put that in their columns. Okay, so that's That's the main thing. I want y'all to look at that. This is something we still want to workshop. You know, I know y'all asked for that. And we're still trying to gather everything. When Ted wraps up his thing, then I want to workshop that with y'all again and kind of show you what some options are. But I do want you to look at what Calhoun County's paying, because one of the comments that came in, and I agree, was, you know, it's one thing to get cheaper insurance, but if the out of pocket, if you don't use the insurance, then cheaper insurance is better. But if you do use the insurance, that may not necessarily be better, because you may be paying less per month in premium, but you may be paying more out of pocket per visit, deductibles and all of that stuff. So the max, I really look at the maximum out of pocket, the visits, the specialty stuff. And there's some things you compare to what Bluntstown, I'm saying Calhoun County offers, for theirs. So there's just some pricing there, and then kind of a A/B comparison with what we offer. So that we'll workshop that just as soon as Ted wraps up this stuff, kind of gets back to us. Softball field update, bleachers have been ordered. We got a lower quote, hope to have them installed sometime before the first home game. Then we will have to put footers down. I was telling Jody at the workshop, if you know about home football field bleachers at the football field, there's footers that those bleachers are bolted to. That's what these bleachers will have. They'll have footers, and there'll be an attachment with those bleachers. But Kevin's got me a purchase order. I approved it today, and we've got those ordered. Softball field track update. Talked with Rodney Reeves. He's the guy that does the surface. I talked to George. Hope to get started sooner than later. They have shot a bunch of grades out there. Rodney and George are talking. So I've told them it's obviously ready. We want to try to get that done by track season. So I know that the rain doesn't help, that there is some prep work going, that has to be done ahead of time, and they know what to do. School data discussions with principals. Every year after PM2, we're still doing PM2 now. We have data discussions with principals. We've done those during Christmas break. We tried not to do those. But we're going to do those before Christmas break this year. December 16th and 17th. Any of those that you'd like to sit in on and meet with the principals, you're more than welcome to do that. I think it's a good thing to understand what we're looking at when we look at data. And we're getting, obviously, we get real time results. We've been looking at, we got some, got some really good areas, and then some areas that are about where we thought they'd be, and then some areas that just need tightening up, so we're looking at that. We have made personnel changes based on some data, PM1, PM2. Not gonna say we're going to do that, not gonna say we're not going to do that. We're looking at some stuff very heavy on that. If you'd like to meet with us, with the principals, you're more than welcome to do that. I can give you the times. Teacher of the Year, Employee of the Year luncheon, December the 18th, which is Thursday week. That Fiddlers, we went ahead and named our district district employee of the year, because they're on a different time frame than the teacher of the year. Jana Moran was named our district employee of the year, voted on, and then by the whole district, and then the teacher of the year will be named at the luncheon on the 18th. So you're more than welcome to come. If you'll just let Renee know you're coming, we'll make sure you are there, got a plate. District office Christmas breakfast and gift exchange. I think we did it last year for breakfast, I think. And that's always good. Friday, December the 19th at 8:30. We'd love for y'all to be a part of that. Early release day the next day on December the 19th. And then Christmas holidays will be the next 2 weeks. Our staff will come back on Monday, January 5th. That is a PD day for them. And then the students will come back on Tuesday, January 6th. So we've got a lot going on, and looking forward to some time off. I just hope y'all have a really good Christmas. Enjoy time off with your family. Look forward to 2026. It has all.
I got a couple of questions if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for all this, for running out and taking care of things. Especially thank you for taking care of this questionnaire and all the insurance. I think it's a great thing to cover this for that.
Yes.
So for clarity pertaining to the softball field, where did we come in at final cost? No, we still have to put her down.
Yeah, the bleachers were at 90.
now it's just materials delivered.
Yep.
Is that right?
Correct, correct.
What are we planning for the build out? What are we planning? Are we gonna get them to do it? Are our people doing it? How is all that gonna work?
I think we gotta do the footers, and then they do the rest.
Footer, last 2 weeks worth of inflation on the footer. The footer also says this is for materials and delivery.
Right, materials delivered.
Yeah, I told me it wouldn't be hard talking.
There's Kevin's online. Kevin, go ahead. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yes, sir. We're gonna have to get a contractor to pour all the footers and all, once we get the plan. I sent them the PO today, so they'll send us a plan. And we'll have those footers and all ready, so when they deliver the bleachers, we can set them all in the boat that. But we gotta do all that. All they gonna do is bring to it.
So that's just materials and delivery.
Materials delivery at the 90 and what was it like?
Kevin, how much assembly, other than Bowman, do they come one piece or small pieces or out?
We haven't got that far yet.
Okay,
Just sent the PO today, you know, I'm just, as soon as I find out more,
okay,
this week, I'll let you know.
okay.
So then we ordered the bleachers, they're coming in. Well, we're gonna have the footers ready to go for the bleachers arrive.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
We'll get cold paper.
How much, do we know how much that's?
Well, not until we get the plans, so what the schematic is.
They'll tell you basically.
And they're usually like the footers at football field, I don't know, you know, that was back in the '70s when they was done, you know, they're about yay wide. I don't know what the specs be on that.
As far as with maintenance, do we have what we need to be able to put them together, like our maintenance? Or it sounds like that's who's gonna be doing that. Is that correct? Am I understanding that?
We'll make that.
Understood, yeah. Okay. And I think there was we had a certain budgetary amount, I think it was, I don't know, was it 7,000 more, I guess, than what we had remaining for the bleachers? Are we gonna pull like our facilities maintenance budget or something like that?
Well, yeah.
Is that the idea? Okay, all right, thank you for that. I just want to make sure I understood the, sure. And if I understood right, it's gonna be February, is that correct? Sometime in February that it
I
happens?
think the first home game that I had got scheduled typically in mid-February-ish. Yeah. Yes, sir.
The first home game is 17th.
Yeah, so it's usually 17th of February.
Yeah, you got the 17th to the 19th, and you be out to the middle of March. So if we don't get the first two home games, we'll have it done before they come back for third home game.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for that clarity. Another brief comment on the football field. Once all the work is done out there, I know it was in need of probably a sanding anyway. It might need another sanding. So,
Grass.
correct. So if we can just kind of keep that in mind, bigger picture, when everything's done, we'll probably have to sand that field. Just kind of on everybody's radar. So just wanted to mention that while it's on the mind we're discussing.
I would even think maybe do that before they could do the track for. Could we do it?
No, I'd say let me think about it. Let's think about it. I mean, hang on.
Cause I know last time we did it, we dumped it, but you know, we're not gonna be able to drive on that.
On that track.
That's
right. And that's something we gotta think about as far as what are we gonna roll off the track for the guys, run across, things like that.
We'll need mats and all for both.
Home and visitor, that's exactly right, yeah. And then those mats on the home side, you know, if I don't know what to do, keep them out as far as because they're gonna practice.
Right.
So anyway, there's some logistics to figure out, work out the details. Little odds and ends, just anywhere. So, but anyway, those two things, that's it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair.
Ready? Overall, 5, addition together, the motion for to approve addition correction to consent item 8A, motion. Keeper second. Mr. Singletary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
No.
Opposed, motion carries. Moving on, item B, need a motion to approve adding emergency item 10A. Have a motion. Motion to Jody, second. Mr. Keeper, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, motion carries. Moving on, item 6, need a motion to approve agenda from December 9th, 2025. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Keeper, second. Second, Secretary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carries. Moving on to item 7, item 8. Need a motion to approve November 13th, 2025 organization meeting minutes. Have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Keeper, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Singletary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, motion carries. Moving on to item B. Need a motion to approve November 13th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Have a motion? Motion, Mr. Jody, second.
Second.
Mr. Keeler, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Moving on to item 8, consent item. Item 8, need a motion to approve the following November 2025 financial report and transaction with the addition of Hartford reconciliation. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Keeler, second. Second, Ms. Secretary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item B, need a motion to approve December 2025 personnel consent table with addition of corrections. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Secretary, second, Mr. Stevens.
Second. Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C. Item C. Need a motion to approve December 2025 update sublist. Have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Stevens, second. Second, Mr. Jody. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 9, action item. Item 8. Need a motion to approve update of the ESE professional workday to 8 hours, currently 7 hours. Have a motion? Motion, Mr. Jody, second. Second, Singletary. Any discussion?
Yeah, is this just an operational adjustment change, somebody having to pick up more tasks from something else?
They're working 8, 7 on, it was one of those things.
He came on and was trying to.
Right.
To make it like.
They're doing 8, but it says 7 on there, but they're already doing it.
Admin for years, understood.
Just, yeah, same thing.
Correct, so.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item B. Need a motion to approve Title 1, Part B, Subpart 2, neglected and delinquent youth, Florida Department of Education, project award notification. Have a motion?
Motion.
That's Mr. Moore, second, Mr. Jody. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item C. Need a motion to approve out-of-state travel for wrestling coach Jason Brown and students to attend the Rebel invitation, Springfield, Georgia, December 12th through the 13th, 2025. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Keeler, second, Ms. Jody. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Moving on to item D. Need a motion to approve out-of-state travel for wrestling coach Jason Brown and students to attend the Sweet Onion Classic in Lyons, Georgia, January 23rd to the 24th, 26th. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Moore, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Singletary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Next item, 10, emergency items. Need a motion to approve Guardian Program, Florida Department of Education project award notification. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Moore, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Singletary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item 11. Board member concerns, Ms. Keeper, you done had your time? Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am.
Actually, I think I'm good. Thank y'all. Thanks for everybody. I appreciate all the hard work. Merry Christmas to everybody. If there's a kid in need that, you know, if I can do something for, please let me know, or anybody else. That matter. I hope everybody remembers the true meaning of this Christmas season. It's a great time. I hope y'all have a great Christmas, great time with families. Yeah, love y'all. Thank y'all for all that y'all do.
That's Ms. Jody.
One thing I want to bring up again, I'm not, and it's coming out of the blue because I'm not able to discuss this anymore. I think last year, Jeff. Florida offers, and it was signed in the law many years ago. If a child is adopted or if a child is in a guardianship, through DCF, Florida offers them, it's not called prepaid college, it's basically tuition for.
Yeah.
Last year, I was faced with this situation and I approached you and Kyle about it. This is really something near and dear to my heart because I actually spoke with another district and they said, we're not tapping into it either. And I said, that's ridiculous. And I think this is crazy. And I'll tell you why. I know, I can't tell you how many, and I don't even want to know the names. It's not my business. But I really want us to take this seriously. We need to find out and identify these children that could go to college and the state could pay for their college. We also need to start digging in on FAFSA and getting these kids registered for FAFSA, getting them, helping them. I'm talking about sitting down with them, helping them, because I didn't go to college. And it was pretty difficult for me to walk through FAFSA. I'm gonna tell you, if it hadn't been for Chipola helping, I don't know that I could have done Katie like I did. My niece was able to walk away with her tuition free and FAFSA. And for that, I am grateful. Okay, so I want to keep having this conversation. I want to keep seeing if we've got these kids and can we help them. And it may be us talking to their guardians because they don't know.
Yep. Providing information.
Providing information.
They information so that they would know to respond.
Yeah. I really want us to do this, guys, and take this on as a good task. And so, I want y'all to keep me in your prayers. I'm having surgery next week on the rotor cuff. No big surgery, but anyway, if I'm out of pocket, somebody tries to call me, I'm probably late at the climb somewhere. No. Hunt season starts this weekend. I'm hoping to see some pictures. From some folks hunting. This will be probably my last weekend to hunt, so don't come. I'm going to stay. And wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. So, I'll see you guys in January, unless you need. Thank you. Very much. God is good. He's gonna take care of me. Who's gonna wash clothes? That's the thing. Well, it doesn't matter what. It will. Thank y'all.
And I got concerned, guys, with something. Last couple of years, the biggest thing that's come to my attention, we need to address this. Nobody can say we don't. It's bullying at our schools, now, guys. The last 2 years, I've had a lot of people talk to me about that. And I'm trying to speak to some of them. And it seems like they always want to blame kids, but it can't always be kids, guys. We need to talk to our school administration and see what's going on, guys. We do need to address this problem. Okay? Like wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank y'all. Jason?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, be safe. Have fun, enjoy your time off. Spend all the time you can with your family. Oh my God, did anybody get an email today off the phone? Anybody get an email? Yeah,
Your email address is wrong on there.
Yes, everybody got, but me.
No, you hit it wrong.
Okay.
I responded to it.
Oh, I talked with the first one, and then I looked, and I was gonna come talk to you before the meeting.
I hate that, I hate it has to go as far to get stuff. I think that, we really need to look at this, because I'm kind of like Doogie. I get a lot of calls about bullying. You can define it how you want to define it. But when a child feels like they don't want to go to school because somebody's tormenting them, and I ain't saying these little children are all perfect, okay? But we need to look. That's what I'm talking about. But we need to look. And when I say we, our administration needs to look hard, because that is something that you carry for the rest of your life.
And I can tell you guys, we got, I think, a good bullying policy in place. So
I think we do too.
pretty good. But what we have to consider these kids too is we can't do anything if they don't come home. A lot of these kids go home and tell their mom and daddy, oh, I'm being bullied, I'm going to school. Your administration don't know anything about it because they haven't brought it to their attention. Once it gets brought to their attention, we have official forms that have to be processed and they have to follow through. It has to be followed up on. If my administration don't know anything about it, they can't do anything about it. So we need to let all these parents, and all these kids know that we're here for them. We're here to protect them. We're here to do whatever we can, to fix whatever we can, but if we don't know about it, we can't do nothing.
And they need to know, right, then.
Yes, I don't need to know 6 months down the line,
I
you're
agree.
stressed out and you know, you're crying at home and ball up at a ball because it's already went this far. If you truly think you're being bullied, it needs to be brought to somebody's attention so that it can be taken care of. Then if we have an administrator or administration that's not taking care of the problem, then Mr. Petty and Mr. Sewell can deal with that issue. But I know for a fact, because I kind of somehow or another get tied in with all this stuff too, but, I've looked over the policies. Jeff is our coordinator and I went to schools and we've talked about it and stuff, but we just don't get a whole lot of reports. And you know, 6 months down the line, we find out that a girl or a boy's being bullied by a group. Because we've dealt with it on several occasions and then, well, why hadn't you told anybody? Well, I just didn't feel like I needed to tell anybody, or I was scared to tell somebody, or I didn't want to tell them because then I didn't want to look like a snitch, you know? So we need to construe these kids and these parents too, that we need to be teaching them that it ain't bad to come forward. You know, it ain't bad to say, if you're feeling this way, it's a true problem and we need to deal with it, but we can't deal with it if we don't know.
And let me share this. Every time I get a call from a parent, I take it very serious. I go straight to that school administrator and say, I want you to investigate, I want you to see what's going on. And they do exactly what I asked them to do. There are times, there are places to call for those school administrators. Say, look, I told you about what's going on. And there's times not to call. You know, when they're right in the middle of, you know, drop off in the mornings or pick up in the afternoons, they're working security as well. They have, there's a lot of expectations for them. I go work with schools as well, and that's a very important time to make sure that everybody gets where they, make sure you get everybody home. That's a big thing. When I get those calls, we take them serious. When those principals get those calls, they take them serious. There is a system in place that is not perfect, won't ever be perfect because there's human beings running it, but we do take that serious. I can tell you in a lot of cases, and I do mean a lot of cases, that sometimes when you peel the onion back, that there's another side of that story. And what people call bullying, and I hear what you're saying, you know, Jody, what we call it, but there is a definition to that. And sometimes it is that, and we deal with it, and then sometimes it's not that. There's always sometimes, there are times it's not. And so you act accordingly in those situations as well, but we do take it serious. And I'm not hard to get up. I'm not hard to get up with it all. I'm here every day. My cell phone on the front door, and you know, when I get those calls from parents, I respond. When I get those emails, I respond, and we'll continue to do it in this situation. You know, but you know, when time goes by and I don't hear about it, or if we've dealt with a previous situation and it happens again, then I need to know about it. But until that email came out, I had not been made aware. Nobody had contacted me. So, and then.
I'm gonna ask you something. When we get reports, and what you gonna say, almost physically know. When reports come in, I mean, you're talking to the principal. You have executive staff. Does this city, do y'all talk about this? Y'all have any problems with bullying? Y'all have any problems with kids? Parents come talk to you. Do they report when parents come talking to them? I mean, I don't want you, I say you like for a minute.
No.
Don't get me
I
wrong.
know, and you know, where Rick comes in is that, you know, bullying by definition comes with a threat. Bullying's always been here. It was there when we all went to school. But bullying usually, to meet that criteria for bullying, it typically comes with a threat of something, you know, changing somebody's behavior. You know, if you come here, I don't want you here. If you don't give me your lunch money, I'm going to beat you up. There's usually some kind of threat. Well, we do threat assessments, all, you know, when needed and all of those stuff. So I'm usually abreast of that. We also, if it meets some criteria, then Ricky gets involved as our threat management person. And I'm the backup to him, that the principals are mandated by law that if there comes a threat to that school, that there's an investigation. So we have a DMTC.
I'm not talking about threat. I'm talking about your principals, our principals telling you in jail.
Yes.
Hey, I've had 3 parents come to me this week or whatever and make an accusation of bullying.
Yeah.
John Doe.
So the answer is yes.
They
Yeah,
do.
yes.
You go through that in your executive leadership meetings and they.
I get those in half.
Do they actually call you up? So what I'm saying is, so if Stephanie had
I
a,
know about this one at 8 o'clock.
okay, but is that the first time that she was notified about this? Or is it this, she was talked to yesterday?
She was talked to this morning. There was a discussion maybe yesterday, but
Yeah.
this
I'm
morning.
not pointing to Stephanie, I'm just trying to see how that information is flowing up through before it's knocking on your door. Email,
Yeah, well, they
because a lot of parents may not call you.
right.
And they're going through their protocol channels that they think they're supposed to go through, but is it getting to you?
So the answer is yeah, they tell me, I'm in the schools every week, so I know the climate there. And Jeff and I are both, and really Mandy and Laura, we're at the school, so we get the climate of what's going on at the school. I mean, my question, I'm usually have designated days that I try to go. Tuesday's my monster day, and then Thursday's usually forward in the high school. I'm at the high school probably as much as anything because just the extra activities going on there. But we pretty much know, and then a lot of times they'll say, look, we got this, and I may or may not hear from you,
Right.
But the principals, 99.9% of the time, they handle it and handle it to the parent's satisfaction. They investigate, they come up and say, this is what we're gonna do. Sometimes it results in suspension. In-school suspension could be out-of-school suspension, could raise to the level that somebody says, I'm gonna hurt somebody. Then the threat management team gets them, each school's got a threat management coordinator, and then it can go as far to Ricky, and then ultimately I'm the arbitrator of that.
So, question for you to make sure I'm understanding. So, Mr. Ricky mentioned a form that has to be filled out. So, if I understand what's being said here, if a kid is bullied, then there has to be a threat of physical harm for it to be termed bullying. Is that correct?
No, that could be one of them. I mean, there's other forms of, there's a whole page on our website dedicated to this topic.
Right.
With forms and everything, and process and procedures.
Okay.
There's also something mandated through Florida that when you do have a verified case, that they have to go in, it's called success reward, it goes to the state. And they try to. Well, there's an investigation. The school. What's the investigation when you.
Okay.
And then it goes into a state database on session.
Yeah.
Where all our districts stuff goes. So then the state has copies. If we start getting too many bullying calls, then Jeff and myself will get an email or a call or whatever from, usually it's Julie Collins. She's the lady at Austin State Schools that's over assessor. And say, what's the problem? Or if somebody sends in, we have 4 to 5 Florida, which is an anonymous tip line. They can actually go on an anonymous tip line, and it don't have to be a threat. It can be bullying. They can put bullying on our anonymous tip line. Once they hit send on that, the sheriff's department, me, Mr. Petty, Mr. Sewell, automatically get a phone call and an email and a text message. It'll ring for about 30-40 minutes. We have about an hour to do a full investigation. We'll get with that kid, whether it's off duty, on duty, in school, out of school, whatever. Out of county. We send deputies to Calhoun County. We've sent them everywhere to go check and make sure that kid's okay at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So, we take it very serious. There's stuff in place. if a kid comes there, one of our administrators, at our school, they don't automatically say, oh, no, this ain't bullying. They have actual documentation. They take a statement from that kid about what's going on and who's involved, and they have to call each one of them students that student named in and investigate, do a questionnaire and the whole 9 yards, then we compile all the information together and see if it's actually bullying or she's mad at me because I took her boyfriend or one of the students.
So that happens anytime there's an accusation. It's not confirmed. If there's an accusation of a threat and or somebody calling somebody name.
There could be disciplinary action that doesn't rise to that level. I'm just saying in general, so not even some case. But let's say someone does say something, and it's investigated, and they say, oh, well, it doesn't rise to level bullying, but yeah, there was some disciplinary action. Then you would take disciplinary action, but it wouldn't rise to the level of having to go through all the bullying protocol.
What would that be termed? What do we term that? If it's not rise to the level of bullying?
Well, it could be anything. It could be, disruptive behavior or, disrespect to someone. Maybe it's a name calling instance or something, or, something where, yeah, you might be a disciplinary action, but like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that, but it doesn't rise to that level.
So
I'm just saying in general, that's how it's the whole process.
when that accusation is made, a kid bullying me, and y'all investigate, the school investigates.
Yep.
Are you involved in each one of those?
Not unless it goes into threat. I'm the district threat management coordinator.
Okay, so you don't approve.
No. But what we do is if it is a serious accusation of bullying, then what I do as a district threat management coordinator, the kid is being bullied, I can't do anything about it, not administration, whatever, but I put what I call, and I hate to say it that way, but that kid that so-called is being bullied, I kind of put that kid under what we call under the radar. Because if you read all the reports of school shootings and all this stuff, a lot of the kids that are doing this stuff, first thing they say is, I've been bullied my whole school, and my whole school life, so now I'm gonna come back and get redemption, and I'm gonna kill one of the kids. So that kid kind of goes on our radar. But if there's not an actual threat where that person that's being bullied comes up and says, I'm gonna kill you, or I'm gonna harm you, or whatever, I can't officially do a threat management cleaning and all that stuff. We just kind of put that on, we call consider it, a soft regular word. We need to check this kid, we need to talk, and what we do is, we get Miss Jennifer involved, if we see that this kid is going in a different direction, because under the new Florida model, it's not like the old CSTAG model for predecessors. The old CSTAG model was, if it happens, we deal with it, and if it don't, nothing happen, we don't have to do nothing. Well, under the new Florida model, there kids out that we feel need assistance before they get to the point of a threat. So what we do is we take these kids and we watch them, and we get them with people that they have good rapport with inside the school, so they can talk to them on a daily basis and see where their mind is. If it comes to a point where we think they need outside counseling, we get with Miss Keeper. Miss Keeper goes down to them, we give out the forms, they get some outside counseling, so that hopefully we can get this kid on the right track before they get in their mind they want to really hurt someone. And that's kind of the way the new Florida model works. So it's a more progressive thing. Yes, it's a lot more preventive than the old is, and that's what I've tried, and we're doing a really good job of it. This is only the second year of the Florida model, and now everybody knows, teachers and all kind of know that if I had a kid that's been an A student for all year last year and all year this year, but now all of a sudden all those students come in and go to sleep, not get good grades, his parents change, whatever, that's the kid we need to talk about. So then that's the kid we put on the radar, and try to get them to find out what's going on in their personal life that's causing them to do this, because there is a reason.
Yeah.
We know there's a reason, we just have to find out what it is. And, you know, it all comes down to the corporation that we get from the kid and the corporation we get from the parent. Some of the parents say, you're not helping them. Because in their mind, especially around here, and I've had to work through this with a lot of parents, is if my kid's going to counseling, then they're going to counseling, everybody looks at my kid as having a problem with it. But it's not. Everybody needs somebody sometime. Whether it's us, whether it's a kid, if you don't think you don't need somebody sometimes. We're trying to be there for the kids, we're trying to be proactive, trying to build a program where it helps with bullying, it helps with the threat assessment. We don't want this in our schools. We don't want a kid to feel like that they're so pressured and so beat down that one day they will come here and destroy a lot of people's lives. And that's what we're.
So if I understood it correctly, thank you for keeping track of all that, doing all that, not letting everybody. So if I understand correctly, those are the alleged, I don't know, alleged victims of being bullied. Right?
Yes.
So those are the that have been bullied, allegedly, or maybe verifiable. And then on the other side of it, administration has determined, hey, this kid is bullied. And then they're taking care of disciplinary
And it depends what the person that's doing the bullying says to what category he falls in. Does he fall into a bullying category or does he fall into a threat category?
And each of those disciplinary things are outlined in the code.
But it could be a matter of one word to whether he falls into the bullying category or the threat category.
So then anything like this, there's a paper trail documentation, something's been done, it can be reviewed, it can be seen, it can be tracked. So in other words, this can be followed up straight with the administrators at this, what's been discussed now, at this school to see, has there been documentation action taken every single time that, you know, there's been a bullying incident, and that can be reviewed, look at all of that and say, hey, listen, maybe we need to be keeping better track records, or hey, we have taken all these records and there's nothing there. All that's the process you would take, I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah. And we don't, I mean, just like Mr. Petty said, we're human. We're doing, I think, a really good job. Every now and then something falls through the cracks. Sometimes the kid don't come tell us, or sometimes a kid comes and tells us, then when we do the investigation, we make the decision that, hey, it really ain't a bully.
Let me share this. So in a lot of situations, one of the most frustrating things for parents who feel like their kid's been bullied is we're not telling them what discipline we know about to the one who did that. That really upsets them, but I can. And so they sometimes will take that as being clean. That's not true. And in fact, some of these things can have cumulative effects where if a kid maybe gets in school suspension for behavior, it may not have risen to the level of bullying once the investigation was done, but it did result in disruptive behavior. And they get, I'm totally making this up, 2 or 3 days in school suspension. If they do it again, it might rise to out of school suspension. Sometimes that's even tougher with ESE kids because they got a lot of rights and we have a lot of responsibilities with them. You know, was their behavior a manifestation of their disability? That's always a big issue that we have to deal with because there's certain things you can do and can't do with ESE kids, and it's sometimes very frustrating when you have behavior about that behavior you want to quit. But it does frustrate parents when you can't say, listen, mom and dad, this is what we did to the kid who did it. We saw what we did this, blah, blah. And I think that probably 100% of the time they say, thank you for doing, that's what they needed to do. And, you know, we do handle those things. We just can't tell them what we do. And most parents, I think by now, I've told them what I can and can't do. And I always compare FERPA, which is, it's like HIPAA, with education. It's just like HIPAA. I can't call Jody's doctor and say, is she having surgery next week? And she told me she's having surgery next week, but her doctor would not tell me that and couldn't tell me that about federal law. Same thing applies here. A lot of times behind the scenes things are being done. And again, I'll say we're human. We want to catch everything But anytime that I do think every time that we get a call or a accusation of bullying, we take it very serious. We have to, we're bound by law to do that. Some of those times we find out it wasn't bullying, it was ridicule, it was crazy behavior, kids being mean, and then sometimes we find out that, some of the kids were, they're maybe just as guilty in some of those situations, they find out who started it, and we ask a lot of kids, the witnesses, who around that saw that, what did they hear? We pull videotape, we've done that before. And when there are certain accusations, that videotape, it don't lie, it tells the truth. So anyway, we want to make sure we are doing that right, and we'll, I'll continue to do what we've been doing. We're going to do it better, no doubt. We're going to do it better. We don't want any kid not to want to come to school because they feel bullied. I'll tell you this. When I was in about fifth grade, I had an eighth grader that Hosper School took one time and said he was going to whoop me the next day. And I didn't sleep that night, got to school, he was bigger than me, and he didn't come to school the next day, and I'm going for relief, And, he didn't come to school for about that 6 weeks, in 6 weeks, I built me up some courage, and every day I come in there a little more, I'm gonna stand up to him, and I remember that feeling. It's not a good feeling, Finally, one day, he was there, and I saw him, I wasn't prepared for it, and he had forgot, but I had. We don't want any kid to feel like they can't come to school. That's what we take very, very seriously, and I will continue to do that, do better.
Thank you.
Well, take a year, another year, everybody out. Thank you, Merry Christmas. Rick, I appreciate everything y'all do, Kyle, everybody down the line, make the whole year work all together. It all in part, everybody back to me. Wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, need anything, give me a call.
Wherever you do, closing comment, we're gonna have, the motion to adjourn. Motion is Jenny, second. Second is Peter.